participant to turn off their camera and mute themselves. Am I audible? Hello, am I audible? You all? Please can you confirm? As rightly said by the Swami Vivekananda, there is a no chance of welfare of the world unless the condition of woman is improved. It is not possible for a bird to fly on one wing. Respected ma'am and dear participant, a very good morning to all of you. I, Rishabh, member of Legal Vidya, opportunity regardless of their gender. Before we begin into the webinar, I would like to introduce our organization, Legal Vidya, which was founded in the year 2021 with the vision of empowering young lawyers, and the organization provide a comprehensive portal where people can enhance their knowledge and grow their expertise in the field of law. Our organization offers various opportunities such as internships, programs, a platform to publish articles, and host interactive webinar and session for law students. Now, it's a great pleasure and honor that I introduce our distinguished speakers for today's webinar, Advocate Avilasha Amar Ma'am. She is a distinguished legal professional with a comprehensive background of law and education, with a 13 year of legal practice as a criminal lawyer and 16 year of teaching experience. She brings a wealth of knowledge and expertise to both the legal field and academia. She contributed to the field of education as a paper setter at the Mumbai University and a member of the law syllabus committee at the same institution. Currently, she holds the position of the student success faculty at the Ajike DY Patil University in Pune. With her extensive experience and dedication, continues to inspire young lawyers and professionals across the country. Now, they are about to share with us. Now, over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Rishabh Raj. Welcome all of you to my session today. I'm going to share my PPT and then we'll start with the session. So today we are going to discuss about women and laws. So if we have an overview, we are going to discuss something about introduction. Let us go behind and know the history, why these women laws have come into existence, then today's need for women laws, then women rights, constitutional rights, what are legal rights, and then we will discuss few landmark judgments. So today's session, the entire agenda is this way. So let us have an introduction. All of you know our country is divided into number of states, 8 union territories. We are known as multicultural, highly rich in heritage and tradition. The Indian civilization is considered as a worth and is judged as a place, and it is a society for a woman where she is respected. A woman is given a place or regarded or granted as an honor of goddess. Somewhere she is Ma Durga, somewhere she is Ma Lakshmi, somewhere she is Kali Mata. So if we think of all about the heritage and the entire cultural part, still there are some reasons the people who worship the mother goddess in our country are also involved in high percentage of crime in our country. So let us understand why and what are the reasons people or the people who worship mother goddess, people who worship the women are into high crime rate in India. So if we look into Rig Veda period or Vedic period, women had a very good status. They had freedom. They had freedom to take part in all cultural events, ceremonies, religious and spiritual, religious ceremonies with their husband, with the family, and were also involved in public activities. There were absolutely no restrictions on religious literature, reading, training, learning, all the religious literature, as well as they had all the type of trainings which are being observed in Vedic and pre-Vedic period or Rig Vedic period. So this was something which gives us a traces that Indian culture absolutely respects women from the starting of our mankind. But there was something which brought a change. What was that period which brought a change was the Mughal era. It was also called as a medieval period. This medieval period is known as a derogating or a disappointing, deteriorating status of a woman. This was a period when the culture or when the people started restricting women from the education. They were being imposed on parda system. There was restrictions on moving of a girl. Then there was child marriages. All these were being observed from Mughal era, or we can call it as a medieval period. Mughal who came to India also came with their cultural and other heritages. So it also impact on the Indian culture as well. So this is what is the medieval period. Then came British era. British era came with its pros and cons. Now let us understand what was the advantages which we got from Mughal or which we got from British era. There were a lot of social reforms. We had lot of freedom fighters who were fighting for women laws, for women freedom, for women education, for abolishing sati system. One of the example all of you know is Raja Ram Mohan Roy. Then there were few acts which came into existence in British era. That was 17th century. It was the Hindu Widow Marriage Act 1856. We had the Bengal Sati Regulation Act 1829. Then we had Hindu Marriage Act 1955, which were all around and around into which were the progressive part of British era. Now, when we took observe today, why do we think it is so much required that we want women laws in India? So today, if you look into today's condition, women are uh, facing lot of harassment, abuse. They are victim to rape, kidnapping, insult, abuse. So there are so many things they are facing into their day-to-day life. Unfortunately, many of the women do not know their rights. They are being economically and socially also discriminated. But how many of them know that what are my rights or how should I go and fight for my rights? So if you look into gender based discrimination, there are almost 30% of the women today who get affected because of this gender based discrimination, or we can say violence. Women are denied from their sexual and reproductive rights today also. When we talk about 21st century, when we talk about so much advancement, when we talk about reaching on moon or reaching to the all the extent of the culture, but still if you see some parts of the cultural or some part of the society still have discrimination, still have sexual and reproductive rights which are being denied to the woman. There is discrimination to the woman at workplace. There are a lot of cases of domestic violence at the home, especially by the husband and his relatives. Then there are so many cases, increasing number of cases we can say, of rape, then female sexual assault, and much more. If you look into Nirbhaya case, after Nirbhaya case also, where there were lot of restriction imposed on rape definition. If you see the rape definition today and the previous rape definition before 2013, there is a lot of difference. So because of Nirbhaya case, there are lot of new things which were being added into our rape definition. So when we look into IPC, when we look into the CRPC process or procedures, there are a lot of changes coming towards to decrease the crime. But question is whether the crime is decreasing. So it is not decreasing. Yes, there are so many number of cases registered every day, every single hour. There are number of cases being registered against some or the other for violating or harassment or abusing, or there are the cases of rape, kidnapping, or violence against women. So if we talk about laws, there are two type of laws which everyone should know. One is constitutional rights and other are legal rights. So let us understand what are the constitutional rights. Now what let us understand before going to constitutional rights, what do we mean by constitutional rights? The rights which are provided by Indian constitution to every woman in the country. So Indian constitution is something which is providing a provisions, or we can say in simple words, a protection to a woman under various provisions. So these provisions should be known to every woman or every individual or every citizen should know Indian constitution. It is something in simple words, it is a guideline for a Indian citizen to live in our country. So there are various provisions which safeguard us, which protect us, and which tells us that these are your rights. So there are few articles, let us understand. If you go in part 3 of Indian Constitution, so it is Article 15.1. Now 15.1 states what it, especially when we are talking about women, I will be only concentrating on the women section. So Article 15.1 talks here about their state, that is any state or the nation will not tolerate or will not get involved in any discrimination against any citizen of India on the basis or on the grounds of sex. So any woman will not face any discrimination according to Article 15.1 on the basis because she is only a woman. Then we have Article 15.3. Now this Article 15.3 states here that the state, that is the country or a particular state, has powers to make special provisions for women and children. So the state can bring into new policies or new systems where they can give more protection and more provisions for the safeguard of the women and children. Then we have Article 16.2. Now, Article 16.2 here talks about no citizen shall be discriminated against, or there will be no ineligible for any employment or office only on the basis of sex or on the grounds of sex. Because you are a woman, you are not allowed to work here. Such discrimination will not be tolerated under Section 16.2. When we talk about Article 39A, it states that every man and woman have a right to equal livelihood. So every man and woman is entitled to get equal rights in the society when they are living, especially in the livelihood. If you concentrate on the livelihood or look into livelihood, they should have equal rights. That is according to Article 39A. Then we have Article 39D. Now, Article 39D states here that every man and woman should be paid equal. Equal pay for equal work. This is what is Article 39D states about. So there should not be any discrimination because she is a woman, she should be paid less, and because he is a man, he should be paid more. So this policy does not, or such discrimination will not be tolerated under Article 39D. Then Article 39E, it states that the state or the nation or every particular state will ensure that the health and strength of a woman worker are not abused. Now, especially when we talk about health and strength of a woman who is working in any institution, her mental health, her physical health should be respected. There should not be any harassment at workplace. So we are going to discuss this point further into further slides. So here Article 39E especially guides us that women should not face any harassment or any violence at the workplace. Then is Article 42. Now, Article 42 here states that every human being should be given just and human conditions to work, and every woman should get a maternity relief, which is her right into her maternity period. Then comes Article 51AE. Now, this article states that it is a duty of every citizen of India to renounce practices and derogatory to the dignity of women. This means that every woman should be respected and every woman should be given equal respect as equal to the men. Now it comes Article 243D3. It states that when you talk about panchayat system, one third of the total number of seats to be filled by direct elections in every panchayat system shall be reserved for women. So one third of a seat in a panchayat system or in a panchayat should be reserved for women. Similarly, Article 243D4 states that one third of the seats or the total number of the office of chairperson of the panchayat at each level shall be reserved for women. So every woman should get a chance to become the chairperson. Every woman should get chance to be a part of panchayat system. Then comes Article 243T3. It states that every municipality should have one third of the total number of seats to be filled by direct elections by women and one third seats should be reserved for women. Then comes Article 243T4. Here it states that the municipal the municipalities, the office of chairperson should be reserved for women in such a manner as the state legislature may provide so. Then we have Article 226 empowers the High Court. Article 32 empowers the Supreme Court. Now, these are the two very important articles where we can go and file a writ petition if my rights are violated. It may be a man and woman, whoever feels that my rights are violated can file a writ petition to the High Court under Article 226 or can go and approach to the Supreme Court under Article 32.
Sorry to interrupt you, ma'am.
We
Slides are
can keep
not
a question
changing.
answer session later on
No,
also.
no, no, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Yeah.
Slides are not changing.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Is it so? Oh,
Uh,
oh, oh. I will share it again. Wait. Thank you so much. Now it is changing. Can anyone help me out? Can you see changing
no,
on the
ma'am.
slides?
No,
No.
ma'am.
No. Okay. I'll start it again. Now just see.
No.
Screen is not presenting.
No.
Sure. Okay. I will start it again. Wait. I will share it again. Now just see.
No. Yes, yes.
Can you see second, third slide?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
So I will go into presenter mode. Just see if you can see into the presenter mode. Can you see first slide? Second?
Yes.
So don't worry, if you want, I can share this PPT presentation with Sakshi also later after
Yes,
once I have
ma'am.
completed. Okay.
Okay,
So should
ma'am.
I Mughal era or medieval period first?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So let us go ahead. I was here on articles. So I was discussing about Article 15.1, Article 15.3. Can you see this?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Okay, fine. Let us go ahead then. So this is Article 16 to Article 39A. Then Article 39D, Article 39E I was telling about. Then Article 42, Article 51AE, Article 243D3, Article 243D4. Then we have Article 243T3, Article 243T4. Then I was discussing about Article 226 empowers the High Court, Article 32 empowers the Supreme Court. So here we were discussing about that every person, it is not only for a woman, every person, every individual who feels that my rights are violated can immediately file a writ petition either in the High Court under Article 226 or under Article 32 of the Supreme Court stating that this particular rights are being violated and I need the justice. So this is an example of articles. So let us go ahead. Now, legal rights to women. Now let us understand legal rights to women. If when we talk about legal rights, there are few acts which are very important. There is the Immoral Traffic Prevention Act 1956. Then we have the Dowry Prevention Prohibition Act 1961. Then we have the Indecent Representation of Women's Prohibition Act 1986. Then the Commission of Sati Prevention Act 1987. Then we have Protection of Women from Domestic Violence Act 2005 and the Sexual Harassment of Women at Workplace Prevention, Prohibition and Redressal Act 2013. So we will be discussing all these acts little bit in this entire session. So first is the protection of women from domestic violence. All of you know domestic violence. It is of four types of domestic violence. It can be sexual, it can be physical, it can be emotional, it can be economical also. Now, when we talk about these types of harassment, there are three important things which you have to remember. First is the Protection of Women Against Domestic Violence Act 2005. This act is very important. Second is the Dowry Prohibition Act 1961. So whenever it is domestic violence, we have to first of all see that whether there is any involved of dowry or the need or we can say demand for dowry. If there is a demand with domestic violence is accompanied with any demand, immediately what act comes into existence is the Dowry Prohibition Act 1961 and IPC section, that is section 498A. So these are the three important things which we have to see when you are going to handle any domestic violence act. Now, what are the rights of a woman? Whenever she feels that she is a victim to any domestic violence, she can approach women's cell, she can lodge a complaint directly to the magistrate, or she can approach the police station for the domestic violence. Now, there are few things which have changed recently under section 498A of IPC. Now, suppose any woman approaches a police officer for help for any domestic violence, the police officer informs the court that there is particular this matter has come to our police station. The court will then tell the police station to conduct 6 months investigation to understand whether a woman is seriously under any domestic violence or not. Within these 6 months, a lady officer will be appointed, and the lady officer will conduct the entire investigation and inquiry. After the investigation inquiry, she will file a report, and the report will be given to the court. If the court is satisfied that the woman is victim of the domestic violence, 498A will be registered, and then the further process will start. So this was a very good thing, which is also a positive thing, because 498A IPC was a weapon utilized by women. Many a times it was misused also. So to avoid this misuse and the load of the court and judiciary, it is very important to understand whether the woman is seriously under or is seriously a victim of any violence or not. In that condition, this 498A had this procedure into the court and police station. There's a very famous case which I would like to share with all of you. That is Inder Malik versus Sunita Malik. Now, this Sunita Malik was a complainant, and Inder Malik was her husband who was the respondent. In this case, Sunita Malik filed a complaint stating that she was a victim of abuse, harassment. Then she was being beaten up by the husband and his family. She was put in on starvation. So there was a lot of things which she was facing. Later on, it also was observed that she was being demanded of money, where she was being beaten and forced and stating that you should tell your father to sell his property and that money should come to the husband. So this was the case. In this entire case, the
Ma'am,
condition
again,
was,
sorry to interrupt you. Excuse me, ma'am. Slides are
yes,
still not changing.
I am not changing the slide beta now.
Still on Mughal era, ma'am. Slides.
Yeah, I am not changing the slides now. I am just explaining.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
Okay. We are at domestic violence. I am explaining a landmark judgment which I just remembered. So I thought I will share with all of you. Then we will go to the next slide. Okay. So in this Sunita Malik and Inder Malik case, there was a question which raised So it was double jeopardy. All of you know what is it, that you cannot convict a person for same two times, you cannot convict a person for same act. So in this situation, it was a question that can be held responsible Inder Malik for 498, and can be also held responsible for section 4 of the Dowry Act, Dowry Prohibition Act. So the Honorable Supreme Court gave a very nice landmark judgment, or a very nice guidelines. Honorable Supreme Court said that if there is domestic violence accompanied by the dowry demand, both the sections can go together, and both the sections will have the punishment accordingly. So this was one example which I remembered just now, so that I thought would be sharing with you. Next is right to maintenance. So all of you know right to maintenance is very important. A married woman is entitled to get maintenance from her husband even after her divorce. So till she gets remarried, she is entitled to get maintenance. Now section 125 of the CRPC plays a very important role, where the husband is obliged to pay, or the obligation goes to husband, that he has to pay the maintenance to his divorced wife. So Shah Banu case is one of the very good example of section 125, where she filed a suit stating that she's entitled to the maintenance, and Honorable Supreme Court gave a nice guideline in Shah Banu case, that the woman, she belongs to any community, is entitled to maintenance from her husband after divorce. So this is again a very important right to maintenance. Then is right to equal pay. All of you know that women and men should be paid equally, whether they work on the same place or wherever. When they are working, they should be paid equally. So there is the Equal Remuneration Act, which is also there, which provides the guidelines that how the payment should be made, and men and women are entitled for the equal payment. Then is right to dignity and decency. Now, when we talk about right to dignity and decency, it is very important that every woman has a right to live in dignity, free from fear. She should be free from violence, abuse, discrimination, torture, harassment, threatening, and the criminal law, that is especially IPC. There are 3 4 sections which gives us a guideline, that is section 354A, sexual harassment, section 354, which is outrage of her modesty, then section 354C is verism, then 354D is stalking. Now there is one very important landmark judgment which I again remember right now, is state of Tamil Nadu versus Suhas Kutti. So it was a case where we say that it has been observed that first conviction under Information Technology Act 2000. So this is the first conviction where Suhas Kutti was being convicted for harassing a woman. Now he was into a relationship with woman. Later on, the relationship was not continued and she denied to marry him. Because she denied to marry him, he started sending her defamatory messages, obscene messages on her Yahoo message group. So previously there was Yahoo Messenger, so he started sending on it. So the mail later on converted into SMS, converted into phone calls, and n number of people, unknown people, started calling her and asking her for the sex services. So she was being treated as if she is a sex worker on the phone calls. So she filed a suit before Honorable High Court of Tamil Nadu, and the judgment came where the judgment was, the guideline in this particular judgment was, no woman should be arrested, should be made a victim of any defamatory or any obscene messages, or she should not be threatened, she should not be put into violence and any of the fear and threatening. And then he was being convicted in 2004, where he was being convicted. It was the first conviction in Information Technology Act 2000. So the guideline was given that no such thing will be entertained where you come up with anything which is hurting, or which is hurting the woman's dignity, and it is putting into her defamatory or into any fearful situation. So this is the right to dignity and decency. Then is the Sexual Harassment of Women at Workplace Prevention and Prohibition of Redressal Act 2013. Now, when we talk about this act, it is very important to discuss Vishakha versus state of Rajasthan. So I think so all of you must be knowing Vishakha versus state of Rajasthan. It is a case where Banwari Devi was uh, employee of Rajasthan government, and she was a person who was supposed to keep a watch whether the village or whether that particular jurisdiction doesn't conduct any child marriages. And she observed the child marriages. She reported to the Rajasthan government, and because she reported she was being raped, gang raped by the landlords there, she filed a suit against them. But because they were quite influential, she could not win the case. Then there was a Vishaka NGO which came forward, filed a public interest litigation before Honorable Supreme Court, and Honorable Supreme Court then said that violation of any woman at workplace is the violation of article 14, 15 and 21. And after Vishaka, the new act came into existence in 2013. That was the Sexual Harassment of Women at Workplace Prevention, Prohibition and Redressal Act 2013. It is also called as Vishakha Act. It is also called as Vishakha Committee. Now, what were the guidelines given by the Honorable Supreme Court is there should be one committee where any woman is working in any organization, they should have one sexual harassment committee or a Vishaka committee. And that sexual harassment committee, if there is any harassment faced by the woman, that should be handled by the internal committee. Now, sometimes it so happens that the woman feels that the internal committee is not up to the mark, or it is not giving her justice, she can approach to the police station or the magistrate directly. Now, what is sexual harassment at workplace? Now, sexual harassment at workplace can be any obscene statement or any statement which is very awkward to a woman, or asking for sexual favors, or giving or passing some sexual remarks on a woman, or singing obscene songs, showing her pornography, or any sexual content. All these comes under the sexual harassment of women at workplace. So there is an internal committee, as I told you earlier. Then she can also complain to the police station. She can approach the court. Even there is a women's commission. She can approach women commission also, where there is at the district level, taluka level, or the block level, there are officers who handle these sexual harassment cases. Now, when we see IPC section 354A, it provides for an imprisonment of 1 year to 3 years with fine or without fine. Then is right against dowry. So all of you know Dowry Prohibition Act 1961, where in India we have strict rules stating that giving or taking dowry is an offense, and if anyone is found taking dowry, he can be punished with 5 years of imprisonment. Minimum fine is 15,000. It can raise also. It can be raised depending upon the situation. Then right to free legal aid. So right to free legal aid, before going to that, all of you know what is legal aid. So many of you are legal or law students. So legal aid is a very important, we can say, a department, or a place where a person can get free legal assistance, free legal service, free lawyer. Those person who are economically cannot afford, or those who are not economically very strong to go and appoint a lawyer, these people can appoint a, or can approach the legal aid services. Legal aid services then provides them a lawyer and a legal services to help them out. So these legal aid services are at the taluka level, at the district level, and the national levels are there, which are always there to ready and help the poor and economically backward people. Now there is one very interesting landmark judgment which I remember for legal aid services, that is Husainera Khatun versus State of Bihar. So Husainera Khatun was a lady who was into a prison of Bihar. Now, when she was into the prison, she filed a public interest litigation stating that they are not, or they do not have any legal aid services into Bihar jail, and the condition of the prisoners are very bad, and they are living into very bad condition. So in that situation, Honorable Supreme Court held that every person who is into jail is entitled to a benefit of legal aid services. After this Husainera Khatun versus State of Bihar, there were almost 40,000 prisoners who were benefited under getting the legal aid services from the Honorable Supreme Court's directions. So there is also an act which leads legal aid services, that is Legal Service Authorities Act 1987. Then is right of private defense or self-defense. Now it is very important that whenever any woman faces, or she believes that any person is going to have a grievous hurt against her, is going to commit a rape, is she is going to be kidnapped, or she is going to be abducted, or anything, might be she must be locked into the room, any attempt of throwing acid on her. In all these situations where a woman feels that her life is at threat and fear, and in that situation, if she in the self defense acts to save herself, and there is any offense attempted, that is called as she has availed the right of private defense. Now for example, I'll give you an ABC example. Suppose A is a woman who is walking in a lane, and B is a person who is running behind her with a big sword. Now she understood that he's going to kill her. Either he's going to stab her and she's going to die. In case she should save her life, in that situation, she saves her life. Suppose for with an example, she has a gun with her. In that situation, she shoots him with two bullets. He dies on the spot. So what is the situation now? Situation is she has applied right to private defense or self defense, and she will be saved with a section called as private defense. So this is again very important for the woman to understand. Then one more thing is, all of you should know that women should not be arrested after sunset or before sunrise. So there was a very recent case. If you all see a YouTube, there was very recent case uploaded on YouTube. There was a IPS officer who went to a woman. Now that woman was not accused. Her husband was an accused or a wrongdoer, but she went to the woman's house. She arrested a woman at 4 o'clock in the morning. She had very small infant child with her. She dragged the children also with her into the police station at morning 3 to 4 o'clock. Honorable Court immediately asked the IPS officer, stating that what were the reasons you got the woman who is the wife of the accused at early 4 o'clock morning, when it is a rule stating that no woman should be arrested after sunset before sunrise. So what was, and even though woman was not an accused, she was the wife of the accused, so what was the condition of harassing a woman at early morning 4 o'clock or 3 o'clock, when she has a very infant, few months, 3 or 4 months child with her? You dragged her with small children into the police station. So the IPS officer was suspended because of this. So if you go and search on Google, you will find this case. So it is very quite a viral case on YouTube these days. Then complaint. Any woman can file a complaint. She can go direct to the police station, file a complaint. Any woman can file a complaint via email. If she is not in a condition to file a complaint, she can call and file a complaint. The lady officer will come to her place, record her complaint, and then the complaint can be registered. Now, before going to conclusion, there are few cases which I would like to share with all of you. So, one case is Mary Roy versus State of Kerala. So, this is a case. In this case, uh, we talk about patriarchy, patriarchal society, patriarchal tradition. So, this is a very good landmark judgment where Honorable Supreme Court has dragged down the patriarchal traditions in our country. So, there was a Christian woman who was being prevented from her father's property on inheriting property, and her brother denied to give her any part of the property which came from their father. So she filed a suit before Honorable Supreme Court, Before she filed into Honorable High Court of Kerala, Honorable High Court of Kerala overruled the judgment. So she went to Honorable Supreme Court, and Honorable Supreme Court announced a judgment which became a landmark judgment stating that a woman of any community, she should have equal share in their father's property, and she was allowed or she was given equal share into the father's property. So this is again a very good landmark judgment which put down the patriarchal tradition and patriarchal system of our country. Then is one more landmark judgment which I remember is Lata Singh versus State of Uttar Pradesh. Now, this is a case where Lata Singh was an adult. She was around 19, 20 years old girl. She went and got married to a lower caste man. Now, her brothers absolutely were unhappy with this alliance or with this marriage. So, the trick they played, the brother went to the police station and filed a missing and kidnapping case, and they stated that this person with whom she got married has kidnapped her and she's been abdicated. In this situation, her husband and his family members were arrested on the charges of kidnapping. So Lata Singh filed a suit into before Honorable Supreme Court, and Honorable Supreme Court then gave a very good landmark judgment stating that adult woman has a right to marry or to live with anyone of her choice. There is no restrictions on religion or no restrictions on any patriarchal system. She, if she wants to get married, if she is an adult above 18, she can go and marry any person. And then the court also guided the police station who had filed a FIR against her husband and relatives to incriminate the criminal action which they had taken against the people. Now, there is another landmark judgment which talks about custody of a child. So this is a case of Rexon Sharma versus Arun Sharma. This is a case where the custody of the child was with mother. But one day the father comes and drags the child and goes away. Then later on he doesn't give the custody or allows the mother to meet the child. So this mother files a complaint before Honorable Supreme Court, and Honorable Supreme Court then ruled that estranged parents are involved in legal uh, suit or legal struggles. The child's custody, whose age is below 5 years or who is under 5 years of age, should be given to the custody of his mother and not the father. So this is again very good landmark judgment. And one last landmark judgment which I would like to share with all of you is Lakshmi versus Union of India. So all of you know this uh, case which is also called as acid case. So this was a case where the acid was thrown on Lakshmi in around 2005-2006. Then the petition was filed stating that, and Honorable Supreme Court, after filing the complaint, Honorable Supreme Court came up with the guidelines on sale of acid into the general stores. So the ruling states that there should be ban of certain sale of the acids. If any store is selling any acids, they should keep books of records stating that who has purchased it, how much they have purchased, and the reasons why they have purchased. Any person who is below the age of 18, or if any shopkeeper files that the agenda of the buyer is illegal or malicious, he can deny from the sale of this illegal sale of acid. So these were the landmark judgments which I wanted to share with all of you. Now, when we talk about conclusion, let us go to the conclusion part. Human rights are women's right, and women rights are human rights once and for all. So everyone should know that women rights are nothing very other or unimportant things. It is similar as men have their right, women also have their own rights. So Indian laws protect women very well. A person who knows law doesn't need any weapon, any kind of weapon to fight. One can use all these constitutional provisions, all these sections as a weapon to fight against any violence, harassment, or any fear or any threatening. And law itself is a weapon which makes any woman or any man the most powerful person in India. Awareness about right makes you smart and absolutely just person. The only if you are aware of your own rights, you can fight against and any injustice, any threat, any violence at your home, at workplace, or in the society. So, with this, I finish with my presentation. So, we can go ahead with any questions if there are any questions to be asked to me. Questions from the audience. Yes, anyone is interested in asking any questions, we can go ahead with that.
No, ma'am, it's all clear, ma'am.
Okay, fine. So, can we conclude today's session? If there are any questions, I will wait for 2 minutes, or otherwise, I'll conclude the session.
Ma'am, I have a question.
Yes, ask.
Ma'am, nowadays we see that a lot of cases are being, filed, and the basis of that case is false promise to marry. So there is a consensual relationship between the parties, but afterwards, the other party, female party, say that I have been raped. So what do you have to say about that?
So it is a problem of absolutely seen nowadays. Lot of problems. That is the reason I told you. I gave you an example of 498A, how the system changed or the process changed, because there are many false cases, false allegations which are observed, but when the provisions are there, a lady goes and files a complaint, one has to face. That is a very sad part, where a person who has not done anything injustice or not done any wrong has to face the judiciary or this entire legal system. So it is very sad system. I understand that very well. Yes, anyone else? You can unmute yourself and ask questions.
Priyanka Shukla, you have a question?
So if you want to
Ma'am, there is a
understand
question.
rape victims, Priyanka, you should first today go and read Nirbhaya case. So Nirbhaya case is absolutely a very good example to understand what are the provisions given to rape victim. Nirbhaya case is something which gives a very good guidelines for all of us, for you, me, for entire country, that what should be done when any person is a victim to rape. So Priyanka, today after this session, you should go and read in brief, in detail, Nirbhaya case. So I think so. There are no more questions. What are the women's rights in laws? Laws property. I just explained you one case, which was Mary Roy versus State of Kerala. So this was one case you should go and read, where woman has equal right in a father's property, inherited property. She has equal right. So you should go and read this Mary Joy versus State of Kerala. This is a very good landmark judgment, which would make all your doubts clear. So I think so. We should conclude here. Thank you so much.
Ma'am, there is a question by Ma'am Aman Bansal. We will
Yes.
talk about wrong against women, why not wrong against men.
Because today's topic was for women laws, we were just concentrating on women laws. Or absolutely, next time when we have a session, we will talk about men right also.
There is one question, another question by Hers Gandhi. Madam, please tell something about when the woman is accused, she can arrested after sunset.
See, if she is accused, now for example, she is involved in a bomb sport case, or she is involved into a serial murder case or something like that. Depending on the case, she can be arrested if there is a doubt that she is being hiding into this dwelling or this building, but in presence of a lady officer. So who should arrest her? The lady officer should arrest her after sunset, but depending upon the case. Yes, Archana Kumari, what is your question?
I have a question that recently you said that in the case of Mary Roy versus State of Kerala, the court said that the women have given equal rights in property case. But when the personal law of that woman does not allow to have the property right, then that woman can have the property right or not. When the personal law is not
See,
permitting.
that is the reason there is a guideline given by Honorable Supreme Court in Mary Roy versus State of Kerala. No, that is the guidelines overruled by Honorable Supreme Court of Honorable High Court, where Honorable High Court firstly said that it is the private rights of Christian community not providing any property rights to a woman. But Honorable Supreme Court overruled it and said that no, every woman is entitled to the right to property of inherited property, that is the father's property. She has equal rights. So she has equal rights if Honorable Supreme Court has given us a guideline in that situation.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Ma'am, there is one more question. Do the women actually enjoy the rights nowadays?
Woman, I did not understand the question.
Ma'am, question is in the chat box. Do
1
the
minute.
women
I
actually
will look
enjoy
into
the
the question. Do the women actually enjoy the rights nowadays? If you are aware, absolutely, you, it is not enjoyment. See, when do you go and avail your rights? When there is some violence, there is some threat, there is some fear or some harassment, the woman is not somewhere very happy to go and file a rape case or a domestic violence or anything. But yes, she gets a satisfactory solution that there is someone who is going to protect me. So in one case, it is a happy situation that she has been protected by someone.
ma'am? Now I like to call Sakshi Sharma ma'am to give vote of thanks.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Rishabh, and thank you so much, ma'am, firstly for joining the session and taking out this time from your precious schedule to host the session. It was really an honor having you, Abhilasha, ma'am, today. And I'd also like to thank all the participants who have joined. Your questions were truly enlightening. And, ma'am, the information that you gave in today's session was also enlightening. And we really look forward to having more such sessions with you, ma'am. It was an honor having you here. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you so much. So I am so much thankful to all of you, Sakshi also who arranged this session, and Legal Vidya also for giving an opportunity. It is. See, I always think that becoming a lawyer, getting education is not somewhere a full stop to my life. I want to create awareness. So as much as I get a chance to create awareness into the society, I go ahead with that because I know laws, so everyone should know, and it is an opportunity which I have to create awareness in the society. So thank you so much for inviting me today, and that's all. Thank you so much.